Taking north now to Washington State, the governor there, Jay Inslee, signing into law 3 gun reform bills, including an assault-style weapons ban. This making Washington the 10th state in the nation to ban assault-style weapons such as the AR-15 and AK-47. The bill bans more than 50 gun models, in fact, but existing legal gun owners in that state can retain any assault-style weapons they currently own. Again, that according to the governor. I believe that the stores have 90 days to sell it as well, if they do have them. Washington State Representative Peter Abbarno is against the ban. Bill Caruso, Democratic strategist, for the ban. Both are here joining us live to have a healthy discussion, if you will, if we can, gentlemen. State Rep and Bill, you both have opposing viewpoints about the assault weapons ban. I know viewers have thoughts on this matter as well. State Rep, this is happening within your state. Can you talk to me about it and where you stand and why?
Well, this is part of a bigger package of bills, or just part of a big package of bills in this one, House Bill 1240 restricts the transfer, distribution of firearms, the sale of firearms, and even the transport of firearms in and out of the state. One of the big issues that's very broad, and it's going to impact folks in communities of Washington. That Washington currently has the least amount of law enforcement officers per capita. And we also have a huge spike in crime. And what we've seen from the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Bruin is that things that need to be considered are history and tradition. Things that need to be considered as a metric are the ability of individuals to be able to protect themselves. When you see a spike in crime and you see the fact that we have the lowest amount of law enforcement officers per capita, according to the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs, this is a huge issue. We should be focusing on criminals who are possessing firearms illegally and not punishing law-abiding citizens.
Bill Caruso, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I actually agree with the state rep on the law enforcement part. We need more cops. We need more cops in schools. I'm for good policy. I'm not anti-gun. I think ideas like arming teachers are as dumb as requiring my wife and I to ask other parents where they keep their guns in their house. Those are stupid ideas. This thing actually has some merit, though. We're not taking away guns from people that have them. We're controlling the explosion of these types of weapons. I'm a little skeptical because I don't know that our politicians really understand the technology. One man's assault weapon might be a hunting rifle, but this doesn't take weapons away. It forces those that want to carry firearms to go through proper training about self-defense. That's a good thing. And it also shifts some liability now to the manufacturers. It will help improve safety. But I go back to what the state rep said. We need more cops. We need more trained people with weapons, not cowboys running around with assault rifles to defend themselves.
State Rep, before I get your comment, I wanted to throw this into the conversation, Governor Jay Inslee and what he had to say at the signing ceremony. Here's that.
These weapons of war, of assault weapons, have no reason other than mass murder. Their only purpose is to kill humans as rapidly as possible in large numbers. And I will say this, AR-15s should not be idolized, they should be prohibited, and that's what we're doing today.
State Rep, your response to the governor and to Bill's point as well.
Well, Governor Inslee is pretty famous for incendiary rhetoric. This bill also includes shotguns and pistols. This doesn't take into account, rifle clubs at high schools or hunting with your mom or dad in the history and tradition. This is a very broad bill. It's going to have pretty impactful consequences to a lot of folks in the state of Washington. And again, I represent lots of rural areas of Washington state, sometimes taking 30, 45 minutes to an hour for law enforcement to respond. A lot of the weapons that are banned in this are weapons that people use to defend their families and their homes.
And then, Bill, back to the point of, I think what's not really being discussed here, we're kind of getting into some of the nuances of it, but the Second Amendment. You can't have this conversation and not bring up the Second Amendment, the constitutional rights, et cetera. In fact, the NRA did so. They are suing, I believe, there's the headline right there, suing Washington State over this gun ban. They're challenging it as unconstitutional. Bill Caruso, do you see this going to a higher court, moving up?
Oh, I certainly do. And, listen, in following permit to carry Supreme Court decision, we saw a lot of states try to reconfigure their laws, and they've been challenged in court. The court's going to settle through this. But, the ability to maintain your rights under the Second Amendment, but having sane and rational views and laws in place to protect citizens is the balance. And come back to this point, though, and State Rep. Abbarno, you are 100% right. We need to be focusing on the people that are criminals. We need to be focusing on limiting law-abiding citizens from being attacked by these folks. We should be taking away weapons from people that shouldn't have them, particularly criminals.
But aren't you taking away weapons from good people as well by doing this? I'm just throwing that out there.
We're not, listen, from what I can read of this law, we're not taking weapons away. And that's, I think, we're not splitting hairs here. They're not taking away. Now, there will be a ban on selling these going forward, and that may be challenged by the Supreme Court. We're also shifting liability, though, the manufacturers to do better on creating safety around these weapons.
Let me let the state rep answer on that, because you said this bill is a part of something bigger.
Well, and it is. Last year, there was a ban on the transfer of, for instance, high-capacity magazines, which were defined as anything over 10.
Right.
But it never adjusted the fact that you could actually transfer a gun to maybe your spouse, but you can't transfer the magazine.
Yeah.
This bill, I think, is way expansive. And there were other pieces of legislation that I think Bill was referencing, which was 1143, which required a 10-day waiting period in gun safety classes, which was much less disputed. And then Senate Bill 5078, which was the one that created liability to gun manufacturers and actually put it under the Attorney General's office under the Consumer Protection Act. Little by little, Second Amendment rights, or here in Washington, your constitutional Section 1 or Article 1, Section 24 rights are just being chipped away without an attention on the criminals, or at least empowering law enforcement and the judicial system to hold criminals accountable.
All right. Again, just trying to put all sides we can right here on the program, and we appreciate both you gentlemen there, Washington State Representative Peter Abbarno and Bill Caruso. Again, thank you so much. We do appreciate that.
Thank you.